Hi, folks. Welcome to Google Plus Week. I'm Dan McDermott. It is an eventful day. We just found out that the Samsung-Apple verdict is in, and it's not a good day for Samsung. Now, this will probably be appealed, but I'm looking here there's a billion stories out there. I'm looking here at ABC News. After just 3 weeks of deliberation, the jury in the Apple versus Samsung patent infringement lawsuit has handed Apple a big win, finding Samsung guilty of infringing on a number of Apple patents and recommending that Apple be awarded $1.05 billion in damages. The jury found that the majority of Samsung smartphones and tablets violated patents held by Apple, including features such as one that allows the user to tap their screen to zoom in and out of an image, and a scrolling bounce back feature. They also found that in a number of cases it believed that Samsung's verdict infringement was willful. It said Samsung should not be awarded any damages in its countersuit against Apple. The jury had to come to a unanimous verdict. Jurors were given a 109-page document with instructions about the case. And from Neely Patel, there's a great tweet I'm looking for now. He said, Samsung said today's verdict should not be a win for Apple, but a loss for the American consumer. Quote, "It is unfortunate that patent law can be manipulated to give one company a monopoly over rectangles with rounded corners." So let me go to Alan Furstenberg, if you want to talk a little bit about this, and then Michael right after that. What are your first thoughts on this verdict?
My first thoughts, honestly, is it's not too big a surprise. I mean, I don't think really there were a lot of people that were expecting otherwise. I think people were hoping for better, that the jury would see through some of the obviousness and of some of these patents, but it's no surprise that they went the way they did, and I think everything here is pretty much set up to be decided on appeal.
Okay, Michael, I know you've been following this pretty closely. This isn't the only case going on. There are a multitude of cases. So tell us what you think.
I think it's terrible, but it comes to be expected because so many cases have to do with patents nowadays, and I know it drives a lot of revenue into certain people's pockets. So I doubt it goes anywhere anytime soon.
Craig, you've been kind of following this a bit, and you're an Apple and a Google fan, right? You have a bunch of Apple products, and you use them, and you love them, and you also are fully utilizing the whole Google experience. So what are your thoughts on this? This is sort of a proxy war between Google's Android product, and it's the folks who make the hardware for that, and Apple. And so what are your thoughts here?
I think it's good news for innovation, because I think this is a shot across the bow, Samsung and other companies that would rather copy than innovate. And I think that hopefully companies like Samsung and others will put their thinking caps on and approach these problems from a whole different angle and really innovate and really push things forward, therefore forcing Apple to do further innovation. And also, it rewards people that innovate and invent things and create things because they know that those creations can be protected by patents. I don't necessarily think patents are a bad thing. I think some of them that are awarded are bad, shouldn't have ever been awarded. But at the same time, people that innovate and create things, especially original things that are game-changing things, should be given some protection from people that decide to just outright copy it.
So, Craig, do you think a bouncing scroll bar is a creative invention?
If Apple created it and innovated it and was able to convince the jury of that, then I guess it was.
I didn't ask the jury. I was asking you specifically. Do you think that's a sort of thing that's...
Unfortunately, I don't know enough facts to really make a determination. I mean, I don't know, but all I know is that if I'm sitting somewhere and I create something, whether it be a rounded rectangle that bounces or whatever, and I use it to create a product that is innovative, and then somebody turns around and just takes that and copies it and puts it on their device, I don't know that I would be real happy either.
No, and I can understand that. I think some of the question starts getting into, and this is a topic we'll deal with in a minute, is whether these are really innovative things, whether
That's right.
our patent system really is dealing with innovation and preventing copying, or if they're just dealing with, this superficial type of innovation, not invention.
Let's go to that.
Yeah, and I think that's what appeals will determine. That's what appeals are for.
Let's go to that. George Cozy has a comment, and then let's go to our next topic, which is related to this. Go ahead, Alan.
Before we do, I want to quote George Cozy here, who's expressed his opinion on this already. The jury's decided here too. I'm decommissioning my iPod. It's the only Apple thing I bought. I'm certainly not going to be surprised if we see a lot of Google fanboys expressing similar opinions.
Well, this is something I know Bruce has discussed. You're kind of, I guess, is disgusted too strong a term? Or have you moderated given today's verdict?
Well, I'm looking at, The Verge, who had a really great blow-by-blow description. They evidently had somebody in the courtroom, and they had a live feed on question 1. The answer is on question 2, on question 4. So you could follow the whole thing. But, copying, look at the shape of a light bulb. All light bulbs look the same until they came up with these insane, CFL bulbs or whatever they are. The jury didn't think that Samsung's tablets copied iPad's design, but this argument of copy and creation and innovation, and I know we're going to get into the validity or the lack thereof of software patents, but it doesn't surprise me.
What if, okay, Bruce, let me ask you. Let me ask, actually, let me ask Craig this, because you're kind of in a defensive posture for Apple's side. What if Apple had patented the idea of a graphical user interface, and Windows couldn't go beyond DOS now? And if you wanted a Windows-y type graphical with a mouse and all that, what if they had patented all that? And Microsoft wasn't able to create Windows, and
well, that's a really bad example, Dan.
Well, I don't think so, Alan, because the whole notion is it's a software. They're talking about whether the swipe can, the idea to swipe to open something.
No, Dan, I'm saying it's a bad example because that patent war was already fought.
Okay.
It goes to, obviously there's a line to be walked, a fine line, and this is what will probably be decided more on appeal. There's probably going to be some wiggle room here in it, and this verdict, I don't know if it'll stand in its entirety. But my point is, from a standpoint of a consumer, I kind of like the idea of companies being told, hey, you got to come up with whole new ways of doing things. You've got to really innovate. And if you just put a little bit of innovation on top of what somebody else's idea is, then that's not going to be good enough.
Craig, I've got an issue right off the bat with a phrase that you keep using. You keep saying, a company needs to innovate. And that's not what our patent system's supposed to be protecting. Our patent system is supposed to be protecting inventions. And there's a difference between the two. And that difference is really, in a lot of ways, the story of what Apple has done. They've taken ideas that were out there and molded them and shifted them and put them together and put all of these ideas that were already out there into a package in a way that nobody else had done before. And that's innovation, and that's a wonderful, wonderful thing, but it's not invention.
Well, these are lines that legal issues that need to be drawn. I don't know really what the difference is. The bottom line is, if I come up with a really good idea that achieves a goal, and I put a lot of money into it and a lot of time and so on, and I roll it out, and then somebody in relatively short order takes all of that and puts it into a very, very similar product, I don't know that I would be real happy either.
All of that aside, I don't blame Apple, because it's not their fault They can do it. If the patent system lets them do it, I would do it too. If I could sue somebody and win off that, flaky patent, I can make a patent tomorrow for something crazy off the wall. For using like 2 vague words in the dictionary to make another word. And if they let me do it, I'll do it. And I'll keep doing it till they tell me I can't do it. I don't blame Apple for it.
Well, it comes down to the idea of, the jury itself, right? And what the instructions were from the judge, and they deliberated for 3 days over 140-page instruction from, and I think these guys are just human, and they looked at it and they said, okay, these things are just similar. They look similar to me. Therefore, I'm gonna pass judgment. And
it's funny. It's funny you say that, Jeff, because one of the other decisions that came down today was the South Korean courts also had a ruling in a Samsung versus Apple case, and no surprise, Samsung did a little bit better there because that's their home turf. But one of the things that court said was that customers would not be confused between the two products because the two products very clearly had the corporate name on them.
Correct.
And again, I think it's I'm not purely saying the two are equivalent cases, but it's interesting that slightly different perspective between the two courts.
And I think that's right. I think that I do think that's right. I know an Apple product when I see it. It's kind of like pornography. I know it. I can't describe it, but I know what it is, right? So
because it works well.
Let me finish. Yeah, no. Let me finish my thought. I just know what they have. They have a brand that they follow. Okay, and that brand just keeps with it, and they're very good at branding their products, and so that is great. But I don't think that having a similar product makes it taking the innovation away from another person. Like if I buy Popeye's chicken versus KFC, they're both chicken, right? But it's different. It is so different.
That is so analogous. That's worse than mine. All right, you got a comment from a viewer, Alan.
Yes, we have this comment. As far as there's no phone ban, I'm okay with the verdict. And this is an important point. In the U.S., in fact, I'm not even sure that any of the phones that were in question were even still on sale. But there were no phones that were actually.
That's an important point, right? Haven't they moved away from all of these issues that were at play?
The Samsung Prevail and Fascinate, I think, were the ones that drew the most money.
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, some of the software aspects that they're talking about, the slide to lock and the bouncing scroll bar, I think were still present in Ice Cream Sandwich.
It only seemed that most of the devices that infringe were TouchWiz devices. Hardly any, vanilla phone infringed.
All right, so we all agree that Apple's evil, and this was a ridiculous verdict. So we're going to move on.
I want to tie quickly back to this comment that we just had, as long as no phones are banned. Mm-hmm. Looking at the South Korean ruling is a really interesting one. Because this came, essentially, there were downsides to both companies. Samsung was ordered to not sell some of their phones in South Korea, but Apple was essentially ordered to not sell any of their products in South Korea. So that was an interesting decision. I think the South Korean decision was more interesting than the U.S. one, to be honest.
Yeah, and Dan, you're a musician, so let me throw out another analogous situation or an analogy, and we know that every illustration breaks down. But you're a musician, and there are 88 notes on a keyboard, there are 8 notes in a scale, and musicians all the time take those notes and arrange them differently to create a different melody, different harmony, and they have an original composition, and they're able to get a copyright on that song. And of course, we have all kinds of rulings about music, and there's even rulings that doesn't allow us to play copyrighted music on a show like this. So I wonder if there's somewhat of an illustration there where every musician can take these same notes, but they innovate by arranging them in a way that becomes unique to them, and then they get a copyright on that song. I mean, every illustration breaks down, but
nobody goes
on the notes, Bruce. Nobody has a patent on the notes.
I mean, there are lawsuits along these lines, but
a better analogy would be sampling. They rule that sampling songs, right, and changing it into something else is allowed. So you can take a sample from a song and then turn it into a rap song or turn it into something else, and that is allowed.
I think they have to pay the mechanical royalty, don't they? I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
But Bruce, I think the deal is this. I think if you come up with the idea of like Bill Monroe came up with bluegrass, right? His band came up with this idea, the way they sang and the typical instruments you would use for what we call bluegrass was just the Bill Monroe's band. And then when Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs left the band, they adopted that sound. And Bill Monroe was very upset because they were stealing his sound, his signature sound. He didn't realize that he had created an entire genre of music, which is now called bluegrass. It all started with Bill Monroe and his version of, folk music and mountain music. But if you invent the slinky, a completely new idea, a spring made a certain way with a certain flexibility, clearly that's something that should be patented for a while, right? Because that's an invention, it's an innovation, it's something new.
But wait a minute, Dan.
But
did
people
you just
would make
say
the
that a
argument
spring
that
should
the
be
spring
patented?
already existed. The spring already existed, and somebody just did something different with it.
Yes.
Where do you draw the line? The point. That's the point.
That's the problem. Where do you draw the line? That is the question, Craig. Where do you draw the line?
That is a question. The patent office is at least somewhat clear on some of these things, however, and that is that an innovation, there cannot be prior art. A lot of people discount patents and software patents without really understanding them. And I'll be honest, I understand them a little, a very tiny little. And it's amazing what nonsense people will spout about patents.
Alan, would you say that there was prior art on the Slinky? Because there were springs prior to
There's
that.
a spring, yes. I would say there's prior art on a Slinky.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I don't know, and obviously none of us are attorneys, but I will tell you, it's a shame we couldn't get Mike in here because he's an intellectual property.
See, I
attorney.
would call the Slinky a unique invention because it used spring steel to do a completely different thing than anybody else had ever done.
A slinky is exactly the opposite of a spring. A spring you have to compress. A slinky goes the other way. They're two completely different things, even though they have a similar design.
Yeah,
When you think
but
about it.
I think that should be something that could be patented.
I would think so, and it may have even the hula hoop, even though it's a circle. I don't know. I mean, there were lots of knockoffs when I was a kid, but that was years after, it was a hot toy.
So
The company was Whammo.
Okay, guys, just for the record, the Slinky is patented.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Oh, yes.
real
So
quick.
I'm wrong.
The thing is, Craig hit the nail on the head. Where do you draw the line? And you want to protect, you want to encourage people, just like with drugs, right? They spend the first pill costs $1 billion to make, and then the second pill costs 0.006 cents to make. But you've got to recoup that investment. So the pharmacies charge, they get a patent for a certain amount of time, and then then it goes generic. The FDA approves it for generic, and they lose the patent or whatever. In fact, I guess next month, Alan, I think it's the what's the coffee company with the little cups, the K cups. They're losing the patent on that, or that patent expires. And so now, instead of paying 60 cents for one of these K cups, that anybody can make them generically because it's all been Green Mountain coffee. So in that case, the system worked. They came up with a unique way to deliver coffee. They got to make a bunch of money with a monopoly for a period of time. And then next month, anybody and his brother will be able to manufacture K cups that fit these things. And then, so I mean, that seems reasonable.
I'd just like to point out that a lot of this discussion back and forth revolves around inventions, and for the most part, we're not talking about inventions. We're talking about software. I mean,
software can be invented.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, right, but the patent office recognizes that an invention and software patents is two separate things, right?
So it's like if
sort of.
They're a scrolling feature, but they should be more on the code behind it to make things scroll. There's many ways to do like, for example, a website. It might look the same, but it is not the same on the inside.
It's about patenting an experience and a functionality.
Michael's making an important point. And here's kind of what it is. Traditionally, patents were on what were called process patents on how to do something. So, for example, the invention of the cotton gin, for example, there had been machines. An even better one. The invention of the light bulb. There had been light bulbs that were out there. There had been sort of these light bulb-like things. Edison didn't get a patent on the light bulb. He got a patent on a very specific process to create the filament, other patents on the bulb shape and design and building them. These were all a set of patents to create what we call the light bulb today. But there were patents that were out there to do these sorts of things before. He just found a different way to do the same thing. There was no patent on a way to deliver light. Instead, what he found was a system to use electricity to use different processes.
And that's
what Michael is saying, bringing that analogy to modern times, is that a bouncing scroll bar can be implemented in a number of different ways in the code behind it. The patent should not have been on a bouncing scroll bar. It should have been on a method and process to make a scroll bar bounce.
The way they did exactly.
And
that's what should be. But that's not what it is.
Yes and no. You still find the method and process to do things. Part of the problem though is mathematically. My counter-argument to that, however, Michael, would be since all computer code boils down to a set of mathematical processes.
Sure.
Under Turing's thesis, all of those mathematical processes are mathematically equivalent. Therefore, if I come up with any way to make the cursor bounce, I have now come up with mathematically every way to make the cursor bounce, or to make the scroll bar bounce.
And more importantly, it's the fact that it will bounce at a certain time in the interface, and what that does to the user, and what their reaction is. That's what's important. You might think that shouldn't be able to be patented unless you're the one that spent a huge amount of time coming up with that and invented that concept. In which case you would think that you want to be protected.
Craig, here's the problem. I could think a whole lot of things that I want to be patented. That doesn't mean legally they can be. And under our system of patent law, traditionally, it was the process that was patented.
Yeah,
to give you another example, not every country has the same sort of patent law.
Yeah, and you got to remember that Apple probably has I don't know how many patents they stick out there, right? But they overwhelm the patent office. So patents probably go through without the due course or thought. Because they're overwhelming them.
Yeah, I'm not saying that our patent system isn't broken. I'm not saying that at all. All I'm saying is that the 10,000 foot view here, that thing that I'm concerned with is I want people that I've been using the word innovate. Let's say invent something very special, very different that really makes a difference. I want those people to be able to be protected. Some way, somehow, from somebody just taking that and then duplicating it, and without compensating the person at all.
I agree with you 100% there, Craig. I think part of the question is you start getting into which aspect of this do we want to patent? Which is the important? You're saying the important part is you want to be able to patent the user's actions.
Did you guys ever look at the 140-page document that the judge gave to the jurors? It was things like
admittedly I did.
Yeah. It was. I took a glance at it. It was like these are the way the icons are lined up. This is the grid. There's a toolbar at the bottom. And you're pointing out similarities between the two things. And look at them. Yes, they are similar. But I guess back to Craig's point. Is that invention? putting.
But, you know, Jeff, they had
is
the
putting-
devices to play
Jeff,
with.
they had the
You know,
devices to play with. You know,
these
they-
are not
they-
stupid
they-
people.
these
I'm
are
sure
not
they were able to
stupid
look at
people.
these
I'm sure
things
they were
and
able
play
to
with
look at
them and
these
examine
things
them,
and
and
play
they
with them
probably
and
examined them, and they
Samsung
probably
went too
said,
far
hey,
here, and we want to
Samsung
slap
went
them
too
on the
far
wrist.
here, and we want to
They
slap
do.
them
I
on
mean,
the
I have to
wrist.
say they do. I mean, I have to say they look similar
because they do look similar.
Is
But,
that
you know,
patentable? Obviously,
is that
it's-
patentable?
The answer is
Obviously,
yes.
it's-
So they
the
had
answer
to,
is yes.
So they had to, you know, they
Well,
had
no,
to.
no, no. The answer is not
Well,
obviously
no, no,
the
no.
answer.
The answer is not obviously
because they got
the
a
answer
patent
is
on
yes.
it. Because they got a
but that
patent on
doesn't
it.
mean the patent
Well,
won't be
but that doesn't
overturned.
mean the patent won't
Right.
be overturned.
But, you know,
Over-
right,
my
but that
guess-
wasn't.
my
That wasn't.
guess-
That
my
wasn't.
guess-
That wasn't.
my
That wasn't.
guess
That
is-
wasn't. But that wasn't. That wasn't.
They might overturn the
lawsuit.
They might
not
overturn the
lawsuit.
patent. They're not withdrawing patent. They're not withdrawing.
My guess is that the jury
my guess is
felt
that
that
the
it was
jury
so
felt that it was
egregious
so
that they had
egregious
to
that
slap
they had
Samsung
to
on the wrist.
slap
I
Samsung
don't
on the
think
wrist.
anybody.
I don't think anybody
wants to side with Apple and just
side
slam
with
down
Apple and just
Samsung
slam down
for no reason. I
Samsung
think
for no
that
reason.
They probably
think
looked
that
at everything.
they probably
and
looked at everything
said,
and
"Hey, based on all the
said,
evidence,
hey,
and based on
all the evidence, and
based on playing with these devices,
and so on,
we think that Samsung did Apple's ideas, at least a lot of them. They hammered them, and they hammered them.
They did it. They did it in 25 hours. They did it in 25 hours.
That's right. So obviously,
That's
it
right.
was
So
compelling.
obviously,
What they saw in court was
what they saw in
compelling,
court was
and
compelling.
they didn't have to
they
deliberate that long.
didn't have to
Rounded
deliberate that long.
Rectangle? Really?
I think it
Really?
was the whole.
I think it was the whole everything put together. Everything
they
put
patented
together.
A rounded rectangle. A rounded rectangle.
Okay, well maybe they came up with
Okay,
that
well
idea.
maybe
That's
they
right.
came up with that
Around
idea.
it,
That's right.
rectangle.
And the way they
Around it,
implemented it and
the
so
way
forth.
they implemented
I
it
want
and
to
so
break in
forth.
here for a second.
I want to
We
break
had
in here
this-
for a
this quote
second
from
from
Linda,
this
who's
quote
watching us on
from
YouTube.
Linda, who's
My
watching us on
understanding is
YouTube.
that damages
My
were
understanding is
awarded
that
on 2
damages were
points
awarded
where
on
Apple
2
did not
points,
prevail.
where Apple did
That's
not
how confused
prevail.
the jury
That's
was.
how confused the
if
jury
that's
was.
true,
And if
I don't know
that's
if it is.
true,
This is
and
still a
I don't
breaking
know if
story.
it
We
is.
don't know
This
all
is
the
still a breaking
details.
story. We don't know all the details.
That's an interesting point.
That's
that it could mean
interesting
that
point.
the
That it could
jury
mean that
was,
the jury,
just overwhelmed by everything.
just
and they said,
overwhelmed
yeah, sure,
by everything.
whatever.
And they said, yeah, sure, whatever.
Samsung's infringing.
So they decided it based on.
So they decided it based on
rather
reaction,
than a careful
rather
deliberation
than
of the
a
evidence.
careful deliberation of the
But
evidence.
that's why the appeal. The appeal is
That's
going
why
to be.
the appeal
is going to be very important, and we're going to see what happens where it all shakes down from there.
Where it all shakes
But
down
I just,
from there.
I
But I just,
personally,
I
like the
personally
verdict in that
like
it's
the
going to
verdict
tell
in that
people
it's
out
gonna
there,
tell
companies like
people out there,
Samsung and so
companies
forth,
like
hey, listen,
Samsung and so forth.
Hey, listen, go back to the drawing board and
Go
come
back
up with
to the
some
drawing
original
board
ideas.
and come up with some original ideas.
And if you have to hire some people,
And if you have to hire some people to do it,
I think what it's part of what it's going to say. Part of what it's going to say is make sure that when you come up with your original ideas, you're able to convince other people that that when you go and steal your ideas, that you're able to convince other people that they're original.
Windows Phone. Windows Phone. Windows.
All right, so that's settled. We all agree. All right, up next, there are some new features coming out on Google+. One is vanity URLs, where you could be google.com/plus your name. And it's being rolled out to verified people and verified and pages. I assume that are Michael, you're verified and you have a you got it today, right? So tell us what you think about it, and tell us what the actual how it happens when you get notified the pop-up.
I got it about an hour ago. Basically, if you click on your profile, it'll be a blue bar that comes down and says claim you've been pre-approved. You've been pre-approved. And what it does is your name. And what it does is that is the pre-approved user. Now it did give an option to something that was not. But I didn't even try that.
So it gave you Michael Banks or Mike Banks? What did it give you? Okay.
Michael Banks.
Okay.
First and last name. It works like it says it does. It works like it says it does. Google.com and then plus sign and then Michael Banks. Banks. I mean, there's different URLs that work. If you have a profiles page, you can still use your profiles. You can still use your Google.com, your Gmail username. That's still a vanity URL, but it's just a convenience factor.
But there's nothing great. But there's nothing
I'm sorry,
great.
go ahead, Anthony. I'm sorry, go ahead, Anthony.
There's nothing great like having Google. There's nothing great like having Google. There's nothing great like having Google.com that have your name there.
Of course.
That have your name there.
Of course.
Except for the fact
it's
that there's a
useful,
plus.
but Alan,
Except for the fact that there's a plus
Alan,
there
you've
for
argued
I
against
hate
this.
you, Michael. I hate you, Michael. I want to be the first one to say it. I want to be the first one to
You're the
say it.
second one to say it. You're the second one
Oh,
to
I'm the
say
second?
it. actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited because I
second.
just got the
Yeah.
ability to do my thumbnails on YouTube. Custom
Oh, you
thumbnails.
did?
Yeah.
How'd you get that?
I just checked and it was there. It's on one of my accounts. This
Wow.
show is in two places,
Wow.
Craig. It's in the Google Hangout version on on the YouTube channel McDermott Report. That one has the custom thumbnails. My Daniel P. McDermott YouTube account, where the produced version goes, does not have it yet.
And that's where you really want it. And that's where
I
you really want it.
Now I'm going to decide where to put if I have to move the produced version over. I'll have to make that decision. But have you noticed an increase in engagement if you have a thumbnail that's custom and pretty versus some random thing where someone's picking their nose or something? I mean, does it have an impact?
I haven't used it enough to be able to answer that question. And I don't have that many of the random ones where people are picking their nose. Most of my random thumbnails are pretty good. Most of my random thumbnails are pretty
Mine
good.
are pretty bad. They look like Saddam Hussein.
But yeah, no. If one of the three choices is not, then I'll take the trouble to put a custom one up. Then I'll take the trouble to put a custom one up.
Alan, your thoughts on vanity URLs?
They stink. They stink.
Could you elaborate?
They really stink. They really stink.
Okay.
You hate Michael? You hate Michale?
As I said last week, when we were rudely interrupted, I continue to think that they're a bad idea. They're bad for Google. They're bad for individuals. I think no good will come of this. I think no good will come of this. There will be a land rush one day where there will be a furious mess of people who are all whining and complaining that they didn't get the name. There will be a massive confusion. There will be a massive confusion of people who are trying to find their friends and are trying to find their friends and are ending up finding them under the wrong names. I don't see.
But that's happening now. That's happening now. That's happening now.
And it's going to get worse with this.
I mean, I think that going from numbers to letters and organized fashion is going to make fashion. Like if you want to get right, just go to Anthony plus Anthony, and you know that because I can. You know that because I can. But tell you what I can tell you about the same email.
But just go to numbers on Google Plus. I didn't need that URL. I didn't need that URL. I'm still waiting for somebody to say actually hand out versus handing out a name. Versus handing out a name. For someone to tell me why there aren't better ways. There aren't better ways.
If they're going to put it on a business card,
for decades to be a lousy
put it on a business card. They're going to put it on a business card. It makes sense. Putting it on a business card makes sense.
Let's go talk about the business card solution.
A URL is unique. A URL is unique. A name is not. That's the big difference.
I can't think. Craig, can you think of a URL that is more valuable than Google.com and more recognizable? That's the Coca-Cola of URLs.
Well, more valuable would be AreaGuides.com,
AreaGuides.com. No. But seriously, I mean that is the Coca-Cola brand of URLs.
That's right.
And if you could be Google.com
Jeff actually gave you the right answer here. The best URL is yours. It's a URL that you control. It's a URL that you're not subject to somebody like Google saying that we don't actually want you to have that. We don't actually want you to have that URL. Hey, you know that URL. Hey, you know that URL. We're going to charge you $100.
They're not mutually exclusive. You can have
both. It makes sense to get it. It just makes sense to get it. Say one more time. Say one more time.
Because everyone else is going to be doing it. That's why it's going to be doing it. That's why it's a land.
Alan, you're definitely going to do it, right?
I like to be able to tell people go to Facebook.com/Frederick News. For stuff that I put up there.
And you see, really what you should be telling people, and I know you do, we had this discussion last week, what you should be telling people go to Frederick.com, and you'll be able to get to the pictures from Facebook.
Now you're looking at this as this is for Google user. This is for Google. Google Plus is not going to promote AreaGuides.com. AreaGuides.com. They're going to promote AreaGuides.
There's a rumor, Michael, that AreaGuides.com might be acquiring Google. might be acquiring Google, but that's just a rumor.
Let me ask you this, Craig. Michael makes a good point. This is about promoting Google Plus. And when Madonna puts on Madonna.com that you can find me at google.com/+Madonna, or if Justin Bieber comes over,
here's the
with
thing:
his
nobody's going to do that.
that's good advertising. That's free advertising.
Why would they do that? They're just going to use the badge. They're just going to use the badge. Why would they use that?
Some will.
Hey, they're doing it already with Twitter. They're doing it with Twitter.
They're doing less with Twitter. They're doing less with Facebook. More and more what you're seeing on these business advertisements. Find us on Twitter. They're not saying where. They're not saying where.
Alan, mark my words. Alan, mark my words.
You see that less now.
Alan, at some point, you're going to see when Madonna. I bet at some point in the future, mark my words. I'm just predicting this now. When Madonna shares a link to a Google Plus post, or if anybody shares a link to a post on Madonna's page, it's going to switch to google.com/+Madonna/ ugly something.
Ugly something. Ugly something. So we haven't gotten rid of the long ugly URLs, have we? It's not better. It's not better.
It's actually longer than it used to be.
Michael, I hate you.
But Craig, you wouldn't turn it. Alan, let me ask you this, Alan.
Before I go, quickly, yes.
You're Alan, prisoner of Furstenberg now, right?
Yes.
So my advice to you is to, before they give you the thing, which you should get in the next couple days, you should switch it to just Alan Furstenberg so you don't have to request a different one. Because we both know you can criticize it all day long, but you're not going to turn this down, right?
I don't know what they're going to offer me. I don't know what they offer me anything.
Alan's verified, right? You're verified, right?
Yes.
You're verified.
Are you going to turn it down, Alan?
Yeah, you're going to get it.
Alan, are you going to turn it down?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
We're all whores in the end.
I'll be honest, I didn't turn down Facebook. I didn't turn down Facebook told me to get one either. And you know why? Told me to get one either. And you know why? There's a land rush. Because there's a land rush. And if I don't get my name, somebody else is going to, somebody else is going to, and cause confusion. Okay, and that's great for me. Okay, and that's going to be great for you guys. And it's going to be great for you guys because hopefully you'll be one of the first 250 million people to get your vanity URLs too. And hopefully it's not good for Google Plus. It's not good for Google Plus. It's bad for Google Plus.
Final reason why it's bad, Alan. Then we go to Margie.
Because Google promised that they were going to be coming up with a truly innovative, revolutionary and great user identity system, and this isn't because they're not coming up, and because they're not coming up, they're not going to come up with a better way. They're not going to come up with a better way.
And they're going to get sued. And they're going to get sued for copying Facebook's idea.
Oh, they're not because they've got a plus in. Oh, they're not because they've got a plus in.
All right. So as Alan. We'll give Alan a chance to change his username on there, so when he gets it, he can grab his piece of the real estate. Margie, there are some other things.
Grab Alan. Just grab Alan. Grab Alan. Just grab Alan.
Google Plus updates. Some new features to, I guess, related to volume control, to decrease and raise volume for certain users. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what Google Plus did in that area? I wonder if they're going to be sued by Dolby.
Well, Google Plus has a new update. They've added a notification circles to notification circles to basically the equivalent of what Facebook has called Close Friends, and you've been asking for them to actually give us this feature. Now I'm at a point where I don't really care. I'd rather have a subscription feature of my interest on individuals. With this new feature that we have, you have a circle. You have a circle. You want to get from every new post from people, you can use the volume slider, slide all the way to the right, and turn on notifications for that circle, and whenever anyone updates in that circle, you will get a red box notification. That says do so-and-so's post, and so-and-so's post, and you'll see so-and-so share this post. I would only use it for people who only once a day, once a week, or once or twice a week. It's not something that you'd want to turn on for people who update 40 times a day. It's going to drive you insane. So you don't have to use it. You don't want to. You don't want to. Use it, be aware. of all the notifications you get. Of all the notifications that Redbox. Get into that Redbox. If you get a lot of notifications, and you have come to your Google Plus and you have 99 plus notifications. Make sure you go to notification. Make sure you go to the notification page because notification page. Because if you don't, you're not going to see all those notifications in your regular just the Google Plus notification.
I just Margie, I just saw. Linda Laurie is watching on YouTube, and she said she loves being able to subscribe. And I think it was last week or the week before that I advocated for this. I said this will be a good feature on the show, and obviously they're watching, because they've implemented my idea. I should have patented it on the show.
Sue.
You
should have patented it, Dan. You should have patented it,
innovation and invention. The idea to subscribe to something. But anyway, Linda said she loves it, and I agree. And Linda's a good example. Linda is a friend of mine here in Virginia, and I would love to be able to see all her posts. Mike Elgin's another one. They both been on the show, and I would love to not miss anything. But you know how it is. I mean, it's tricky to not miss something, and you can do the volume sliders in the past, but I don't know what algorithm they're using for that. But in the end, there are certain people who I'm really interested in, and I don't want to miss anything because it's creative witty for whatever reason. Maybe I'm a teen girl if Justin Bieber comes on, right? They don't want to miss anything. They want to know right away. They want an email, a text, the whole deal as soon as Justin puts something up. If you're a fan of a certain journalist. Right now I was following this case, the Apple Samsung case, and then when I was taking a nap, there was a verdict, so I missed it. But there was this reporter on Twitter that was there and was tweeting things. And I was really interested in that. And so that would be an example of during this case for a temporary period of time, I might very well want to subscribe to updates. So if he were posting on Google Plus, so that I could immediately find out when he posted something, I wouldn't miss it. I could have been doing a post. I could have been in Gmail. That's the thing. You'll get notified not just when you're looking at a stream, but if you're in any of the Google properties. You could be in Google Voice, checking your voicemail or sending a text message. You could be in Gmail. You could be anywhere in Drive. And that thing pops up and says you have a notification. And there it is. Oh, Madonna's got a post, or some other celebrity, or some journalist whose work I'm really interested in, or my best friend, or my mom put a post up, whatever. So I think it's a neat feature, and it's optional. I mean, who could be against this?
It's optional. I mean, I'm not against it. I mean, I'm not against it. I want people to know that they don't have to use it. And if they do turn it on, and if they do turn it on, so they can understand they can turn it back off. Because you know how some people are. They're not sure, and they're scared. They're not sure, and they're scared to move and adjust. So it's not about a feature. Like I said, it's not about a feature. Like I said, I did ask for it in February, either January or February this year. So it's not just, and I know it's not just, and I know Shreek asking for it. Shreek kept asking. I kept saying we don't have that yet. I kept saying we don't have that. Maybe we'll have it. We don't have that yet. Maybe we'll have it. I bet he's very excited. I bet he's very excited about having to be able to subscribe to posts from specific circles. So I mean, it's not a bad thing. I mean, they also introduced new feature that's on any profile on any profile. If you scroll underneath, scroll all the way down, their profile photo, you can mute Margie. You can mute Dan. What mute means is that you will not get notifications from any notifications if they plus mention your name, if they plus mention your name, or they tag your name, or if they send you a direct share notification, they'll still remain in your. You just won't get notifications. You just won't get notifications. So if you do mute someone, you have an alternative for that person to get in touch with. So if you enable the email on your profile, that'll give a person a way to get in touch with you. If they don't know that if they drive you nutty and they send you notifications a day, notifications a day. I just wanted people to know that.
That is a good balance to turn your email notifications on, because remember, only if you reply do they know your email address. Exactly. And I don't, mine's on there, not my email address, but the ability for anyone to randomly, and a couple times I've had like reporters working on a story or what have you. There have been some important things that I'm glad they were able to reach out to me that way, especially folks who may or may not be familiar with Google Plus, like a new user or that sort of thing, that they're not really sure how to plus mention a single person or send a private message in that way. So that is a good compromise. And yeah, there are folks who, especially I'm seeing these things where people are uploading Picasa albums and I'm getting an email notification about it, and then they don't know what they're doing because about 50% of the time, I'll see a comment under that post from someone else saying, "Please turn your notifications off." So I'm,
Yes.
it's an issue, and so and these guys, some of these game notifications get through.
So well, it's game notification because if you turn it off in your Google Plus, if you turn it off in your Google Plus notification and your Redbox, if you're still getting that by games, I've tried to explain this. The problem is you have some of your friends. You have some of your friends when they get I made to the next level. Dan wants to know about it. I guess Dan wants to know about it. I'm sending to you today, and that's why you're getting those notifications. And that's why you're getting those notifications in that Redbox system tray. You have to just kind of let people know. Can you please take out that circle and not notify? Not about these games that you're doing. And also, I just wanted, if you have people that are not in your circles, and they're notifying you of a bazillion times a day, whatever junk, and again, they're not in your circles. Again, they're not in your circles. Use the ignore. And if you don't know how to go to ignore, just go to your circles page where you edit, manage all your circles. Click on the have you in circles. Click on the have you in circles tab. Once you do that, search for that person's name. Search for that person's name. Highlight that name. Open up the actions. Open up the actions menu. It's a drop down menu. And then under the actions menu. And then under the actions menu. That person will be ignored. That person will be ignored. You will not have to deal with. You don't have to worry about it. Again, you don't have to worry about it. You don't want to see their stuff in your stream. You don't want to see their stuff in your stream.
You gotta admit, Margie, that is a ridiculous procedure to have to go through.
I told them that. I asked the people, the Google Plus. Oh my God, how many months ago? Oh my God, how many months ago?
That's crazy. What's the difference? What's the difference between mute and ignore?
Mute stops plus mentions and direct shares. It keeps people in your circles. It doesn't kick anyone out of your circles. It doesn't kick anyone out of your circles. You will still see a person's page on their profile page. You will still see that person's post. You still see that person's post in your Google Plus stream. Now ignore. If a person's in your circle, and you use ignoring them, they will be uncircled. That's why I usually tell people. Use ignore. Just go use ignore for people who are not in your circle. Ignore stops all the plus mentions that you get notifications or direct shares. Now also remember, ignore we still had the incoming. We still had the incoming. We don't have that anymore. We don't have that anymore. So when you look at the documentation and help section, you will not see this person's post because at that time, because at the early days of Google Plus, the incoming stream on your Google Plus and your Google Plus a little notification as so and so that is what that's talking about. That is what that's talking about.
This could not be more complex. What's the difference?
There was a Google employee he's confused by ignore. So he said,
what's the difference?
But again,
so mute is the least harsh.
Mute is a step down. Mute is a step down.
And ignores in between.
Yes.
And I still don't understand. Not the similarities, but what are the differences between ignore and mute?
Mute keeps people in your circles. Still allows you to see those plus mentions, those plus shares in your stream. And when you go to that person, and when you go to that page, you'll still see them. Ignore does not, like I said, kicks people out of circles. Kicks people out of circles. The documentation on ignore was implemented. We still have that incoming stream. So those people already are not in your circles. If you go and look at the help section, and look at the help section, you won't see them on your homepage. You're not seeing them anymore. You're not seeing them anymore anyway because the incoming stream is gone. Use ignore on people that are not in your circles if they're notifying you too much. If they're notifying you in your circles and they are notifying you first option, always do a private message. Tell them please stop notifying me too much. Please stop notifying me too much. Please take me out of your notification. I don't want to use mute on you. If they still stop, just go ahead and stop. And like I said, just make sure you have an alternative way for them to, to get in touch with you, to get in touch with you. I know can be complicated. That's it. I know can be complicated, but just you read about it, they'll probably have some documentation. Now also, with all these updates, I know you want to chime in on this. I know you want to chime in on this. I don't know if you use it or not. I don't know if you use it or not. They do not have the notify about this post box. Check when you hover over circle now. When you hover over circle now. Now it's just let you know that. I'm just let you know that.
But I don't think there's a difference, right? I think it's the same functionality.
They combine the two. They combine the two.
What do you mean?
The email. Before you could hover over circle, and you would get a pop-up, notify about this post, notify about that post. To that,
except for one day it was a 50 limit, and then everyone freaked out, and then they moved it back to 100.
Yeah, they understood that. They understood that we were mad.
What's the difference? Is there any functionality? Is there any difference in the effect of this, or is it just a difference in terms of?
It's just a difference in terms of the way that they combined it. They just combined it and changed the location. I don't like that they combine it. I don't like that they combine it. It's confusing because before you could just notify people. And then if you wanted to only had email in your circles or click that button. You could also send email to two people. You don't have that anymore. You don't have that anymore. It's combined together.
So if you do, let's say you have two circles of 20 people.
Yes.
Do you have the option to notify one of those circles via email, but not the other one? Or is it all or nothing?
And it's all or nothing. It's all or nothing. But there's a workaround. But there's a workaround.
All right, real quick.
The workaround is if you need to a little. Have some customization of how you're going to notify people. You want to notify people. You want to notify two circles, and you want to include all. You don't want to notify author. You just want to notify Open up the browse people features. Open up the browse people features. Right next to your post when you're creating posts. Open that up. Scroll down to the panel. Scroll down to the circles that you want to notify. Let's say you have a circle of Google. Let's say you have a circle of Google. So click on that circle of Google. So click on that circle of Google. And then you'll see all the people on the right panel, all those Google people. Control A, automatically select all those people, all those names, so you don't have to manually populate those names. And then you can go to the next circle, and you can go to the next circle that you want to notify. Do the same procedure, click done, and you'll have all those people that you want to notify. And then you can also add the other circle that you don't want to notify, and it's your post.
All right,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, as I talk here, I've got an audio issue. I'm gonna try to fix real quick. That's why I've got it off the screen. But I will tell you that this could not be more convoluted. And I've been here since the beginning, and I've been listening to you, Margie, and you're doing a great job explaining it. But I truly do not have a firm grasp of what the hell they're talking about.
Margie,
let me go to Michael. Real quick, Bruce, I think your comment's fast, and then Michael may wait, and then we'll move on because we probably, this is not a ratings bonanza topic. But Bruce, what was your comment you just typed in there?
Well, Margie ought to author the book Google Notifications for Dummies because she's got it. But this is the same kind of stuff that will keep people in the Facebook world. It is very confusing, and I'm not. Yeah.
And like me, you're a fan. We're both fans.
Absolutely.
Real quick, Margie, what is the website that you put your help stuff on? What's the best way for people to find that? I guess to go to your name.
Just look up Oasis Ministry. Okay. You can go to my profile. You'll see it down in the links to contributing pages.
Awesome. And if they circle you and then do a Google search for that, it'll probably pop up in Google as well. Michael, what are your thoughts on this? And then we'll move on to something else. Anything else?
Notification thing I probably use. The mute I probably use. The little slider notify posts I will never use because using the Mike Hogan example he has sometimes. Another time I might be talking about a unicorn, I don't want to get notified for that. So I'll just look it up manually.
Yeah, I pity anybody who subscribes to me, because you'll be mad, because there are certain days I don't post a lot, like today when I'm busy getting ready for the show or what have you, and then other days I will flood your stream, and I don't want to be spamming somebody with too many things. So, but okay, so let's see here. We've got who did the Google crisis response? Was that Alan? I don't know. I'm not sure if Alan's with us or if he's ducked out briefly. As I say that, hoping he'll rejoin us. Well, I'll skip that one briefly, unless there's someone in the room who put it in there. I don't know if that was an Alan topic or did one of you guys. Okay, I'm thinking it's Alan. But Google has launched its Republican National Convention 2012 coverage. And there was an article, is this suggesting that Google's going after traditional media, that sort of thing. Bruce, you're a political guy, and Craig, you are as well. Bruce, what do you think? Go back 4 years when you had John McCain and Sarah Palin, and then you had Barack Obama and Joe Biden, and we were all watching television, the conventions. I know you were glued to the Obama-Biden convention, big time, Bruce. Every word. But tell me, what do you think? Do you think, as you predict, it starts next week? I guess they're going to nominate Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan tomorrow, Monday, because the hurricane's coming. So they want to make sure they get all the all the important stuff done, so they have a nominee. Normally they would do it on Tuesday. But do you think you'll be watching some more stuff online or on YouTube versus your traditional network stuff or Fox News or whatever you watch?
Yeah, I'm going to check out a lot of different things. I think Google, obviously they have a big footprint in the news world with Google News. I think it remains to be seen, how nonpartisan they'll be, whether they'll be. I'm also interested to see if they're going to offer coverage of some of the parts of those conventions, whether it's the Democratic or the Republican, that the major networks have decided not to cover. For instance, some of the networks have said they're not going to cover Ann Romney's speech. Google's coverage includes stuff like that. How complete will their coverage be, and will their coverage be, just kind of newsworthy, Walter Cronkite style, nonpartisan, or just exact. I think they've got a right to be there, and I'm glad that they're there, and I'm checking it out, seeing what it's like.
Craig, what do you think? I know you're a big new media guy. I think I will be. The speeches, now it's different. I mean, I guess even 4 years ago they were streaming stuff. Like you can go to C-SPAN, because I just have basic cable now. I've stopped paying the ridiculous amount of money to get the special channels, because there's very little that I can't get online, and even the stuff that I can't get live, I can get it later.
I even got rid of basic. I don't have any of it. So for me, anything that's available on the web, in addition to what's already available now, is a plus. I look forward to more and more being available on the web. Streaming live on the web. We of course talk about the Olympics not being available, or being very difficult to get. And so I'm hoping that this is the future. That everything's going to be available. Watch it streaming. I want to be able to watch it on my Roku box. And if I can't watch it on my Roku box, on my regular computer, then I'm just not interested.
Okay. Any other thoughts on this topic? Okay. All right. So the next question, I guess. Margie, was this you or was this Alan, the red team?
It's gotta be Alan, I guess. Maybe.
Okay, so I'm skipping a couple because Alan had to skip out and he's coming back. I guess Google did the "Are you feeling lucky?" button. They've changed, and that button used to say, or it used to mean that you would type something in and it would just take you to a random or the first result. But now there's some other options there, so you should play with that. It might say I'm feeling trendy or I'm feeling whatever, and there's some different options, and it kind of is a random assortment. But to get to that, just go to google.com, type your search in, or don't type a search in. Just click on that "I'm feeling lucky" button, and you'll see it'll kind of spin like a slot wheel, and give you some other options. And basically, it's taking you to different Google properties to kind of it's neat. I'm sure they'll get people who like it, don't like it, but I don't think it was a big used feature. But they'll get some publicity for the different properties, so good for them. I want to ask Craig about this. There's a developer who has, not a software developer, but a land developer, who has, I guess he's trying to lure some startups to Kansas City for this Google Fiber stuff. And I'm curious, and then I'm going to go to Bruce, because both you guys are business folks who have staffs and folks, and you communicate with your staff online, and you do a lot of internet stuff. So I'm thinking I could totally see people literally moving to Kansas City for a startup to get that internet bandwidth, because even Fios is less than a third of what Google Fiber offers. But I think Google Fiber right now is just residential only, but people will milk that. I mean, what are your thoughts on this? I know you're ready to go to Kansas City.
I for one am keeping a hawk eye on it. I can't wait to have that kind of connectivity. And the advantage relocating there, if you could make a lot of contacts there. We talked about doing shows like this in 720p, for example. If all your participants were there, all hooked up to fiber, then something like that would be fantastic. The quality you could get. So I'm keeping an eye on it, and I'm even planning on going there next spring. By the way, going back to that other story, the Republican convention. I mean, these guys could screw up a wet dream. Excuse my French. Why would they ever have a convention in hurricane territory in the middle of hurricane season? Does anybody have a thinking cap in that whole organization? Are they from Mars? What is wrong with these people? But anyway, we can get back to the fiber. I'm going there probably in the spring to check it out. By then they'll have quite a number of people hooked up to get more of a handle on how well it's all working.
Well, being a native Floridian through the year where we had 4 hurricanes in a row, you got to also understand that we've had 5 years where there's been no landfall hurricanes, and so it was a crapshoot. Florida's a great place to hold this convention, so I would just give a plus for Florida. I don't think they're stupid for
I love Florida, but I would come there in January.
Well, I think they're going to
February,
Service is going to Home Depot, and they're going to get some nails, and they're going to be ready, I think. Or maybe the campaign will have to do that. I guess.
Plus, it's hot this time of the year. It's hot.
It'll be wet as the hurricane comes in. But they're dealing with it, Craig, by nominating Romney a day early, so they can get, in case they have to evacuate. That'd be kind of embarrassing, right? They can't even plan a convention, and they're gonna. All right, so
they're doing all they can to help the Democrats win. That's all I can say.
I'm going to skip the next 2 topics till Alan comes back. We're going to talk about the German copyright threat and the Norwegian investigation considering banning Google Analytics. Fortune said, this is just interesting. I don't know if there's much to talk about, but Fortune listed the toughest companies, the top 25 companies to interview for, and Google came out the 9th. Toughest. So I thought that was interesting. And then there was this thing that I had never thought of before. They called it the worst job at Google. And I want to go to Bruce to see what he thinks, because there are people out there, they're contractors, and they hire them for less than a year usually. And their job is to deal with the complaints. They have to, for like, kiddie porn and beheadings and just the gross, awful stuff that is on Google, that people, that their bots will find. And at some point, one of these guys had to have therapy, and so Google's paying for this guy's therapy. Can you imagine? Talk about it. Working at a sausage factory. Can you imagine? Someone's got to do it, right?
Well, exactly. This would drive you crazy. No, even in the military, even in the military, my time in the Navy, I know some Navy, I know some people who have, for instance, whether it's the Army, whether it's the Army, the Navy, Air Force, Marines, you have people who are in the service who do drug counseling, who do alcohol counseling, and other things like that. And they'll take people who were trained in one rate, and they'll do a particular stint, maybe a year or two, maybe a year or two, and then they have to move them out because it does get inundating on them. It does get to be too much. So, yeah, it would be a tough job. Somebody's got to do it, but they should keep anybody in for any lengthy period of time. Nobody can stay there doing that for a while.
Well,
go ahead, Margie.
Let's kind of think about like on Google Plus. Our community managers, they have to monitor all the things going on, all the things going on in Google Plus and also in Google Plus groups. How do you think that they unwind after being bombarded with zillions of things, stuff over and over again, all the stuff that happens? Because we have all that. We have all that. We have people that have child porn, that have racist stuff, on and on. So how do you think a person from Google unwinds, from seeing that all day long?
Probably at some bar in Mountain View, I would guess. I don't know. Like cops, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I hadn't thought about it, but somebody's got to do that. Someone's got to. Their job is to find the worst of the worst.
Would you want that job? Huh? Would you want that job? Would you want that job at Google?
No, I definitely would rather flip burgers or anything.
I mean, you could pay me $100,000. I'm not sure I want that job a year.
Correct, and don't you think that there might be some people, and this gets into a whole other subject. There could be somebody in that job who sees it as not just an employment situation, but maybe a calling, and they're just passionate about that.
That's true. I hear you. Like a homicide detective, I mean, the stuff that they have to see, and as a reporter, I've had to. Not porn and stuff, but like dead people. I mean, I've many times been at the scene, had to cover the story, and we had one guy who was shot. He was dressed as the Joker. It was not in Colorado. It was a previous incident. You can find it if you Google Joker gunman Skyline Drive, and you'll find it. But I was the only guy there. I got the picture, the body bag, the whole deal. Another time, there was a guy. I'm not going to get into detail, but he was on a motorcycle, and it went down, and he got hit by a truck. And let me tell you, it was a wide crime scene. It was awful, and I'm sitting there, dealing with this stuff, and it's you detach yourself. But I've seen a lot of stuff. Also, grown up overseas in some dangerous places. I've seen some people get killed and stuff. It's unnerving. Let me tell you. I
suspect that not only is it difficult to find, in general that would take the job in the first place, but if they're searching for kitty porn, kitty porn to be on their network. I bet you they gotta go through background checks they have to pass. In addition to having the desire or capability to take on this kind of job.
I would almost be scared of anybody who would apply for that job.
That's exactly my head. What he put would even consider this type of job.
Like one of the things they said,
maybe somebody that wants it taken down.
I'm not trying to be critical. There's got to be very good people who take this job.
I could very easily see it.
You got to be a strong person to want to do this.
One of the things in this article that we linked to, you'll see it below the video if you're watching it afterward, and it's on the post if you're watching it live. But one of the things was this thing, Bruce. There's something out there called diaper porn. Good Lord. I'm not sure what is that? I don't know what it is. I don't want to know what it is. And I'm sure as hell not going to search. I can't imagine what ads I would start seeing on my pages if I ended up on some diaper porn site. I mean, I don't know. I mean, God bless these people for what they do. And I hope they continue doing it. And I never get so desperate for a job that I do it. But I just thought that was an interesting post. Another thing I want to ask Michael about this, because you're an Android developer. There was this neat camera that Nikon It's I think it's $350 US dollars, $350, so probably in the high 200s euros, and it's an Android camera. So it looks it's a Nikon Coolpix. Is it the 208C? I forget. If you just say Nikon Coolpix Android camera, you'll find it. But it's neat. On the front, it looks like a Coolpix where it comes out. You know, the lens pops out when you're getting ready to take a picture, and then on the back, it's Android gingerbread Android 2-point-something, and you can download apps from the Play Store if you're on Wi-Fi. You can, if you're taking pictures, if you get back home, you can use Wi-Fi to transfer those images to your computer or to your tablet or to your phone if you're in the field and you want to upload them if you don't have Wi-Fi or a hotspot. Then and you can run just apps. And I'm speculating, but it's an HD camcorder and a still camera. Primarily a still camera, but it'll do both, just like an iPhone, but it's superior. They showed it, I'm guessing an iPhone, but typical high-end phone video, and compared it to this, and this was clearly superior. And I'm going to go to Craig in a minute, because I know you do a lot of field videography. What you think about this, but I think this is it's kind of a neat invention, and I'm wondering if you could even use like Groove IP to actually make a phone call from your camera. The lines are blurring, but what do you think about this from 10,000 feet in the air? Because it's not coming out until the end of September, I think.
I think it's Nikon's play to try to get the best of both worlds. They saw, you know, how Android's dominating the mobile market, and now they're taking the best features of a point and shoot, hopefully the best features of the smartphone, and combine them into one. So it's basically people use their phone to take pictures, but they're limited somewhat in the advancements you can do photography-wise with them. It having, you know, zoom, actual zoom, flash, a better flash. It's a push to best of both worlds. I welcome it. I welcome it.
Let me go to Craig. I know you do a lot of for your Frederick.com and your other sites. You do a lot of field videography, parades, and that sort of thing. Rich content. Get a lot of people on this site and in these videos. And some of the stuff you'll actually use your iPhone 4S for. And then other stuff, if it's something like a festival, bluegrass festival you just recently did, you'll take is it a Sony or a Canon? It's a pretty big.
I carry a big Sony NEX VG10, and then I have an NEX 7 and an NEX 5, like a 3-camera shoot. But what would be great would be if you could just use your smartphone that you already have. And there are a lot of people have already talked about this concept. Let's say you have an Android phone, or whatever, and just made it up with the camera. In other words, eliminate all the software and everything being the camera. Make it just be like a dumb terminal, communicating either via Wi-Fi or plug it in or whatever. Now all of a sudden you just control everything with your smartphone. Just like on my iPhone right now, I can select the rear camera, why not be able to select that third camera, or the fourth camera, or the fifth camera? You know, let's say I could connect to three or four other cameras. Now all of a sudden,
I bet there'll be an Android app to do that. I bet that's I totally think that would happen in the same way that I can use what's that program that we have, Michael, to we could take our Nexus 7 and we can see a computer screen from anywhere on the internet. Splashtop, and there's a Splashtop HD. But I'm sure there'll be some kind of control.
All I'm saying is the camera then could be much simpler, right? And all it has to have is the very basic, so that other device becomes the interface and becomes the way that you control that camera.
I think this is take a 90-degree shift. The perfect use case for this device is the average workflow for take pictures, take it home, you plug up your computer, edit, do whatever. The perfect use case for this advice is you go somewhere, you get your camera, you take pictures. With the apps on the Android device, you can now edit it with that same device without plugging up to the computer. With that same device, you can share it to Facebook, you can share it to Twitter, you can share it to Twitter.
I agree with you completely, Michael. The only thing I disagree with in the approach that Nikon used is building the smartphone into the camera. We've already got the smartphone. Use our existing smartphone as the interface, and then you've got everything you just said. Where I'm taking the picture with this SLR type body with a great lens and all that, and immediately appears smartphone. And now I can edit it. Now I can edit it or whatever. My iPhone or whatever. I can edit it. I can share it to Facebook. I can share it to Facebook. I can do whatever I want with it. Now it's on my computer. So
but you understand this is not a phone.
I know. It's like that's my point. It's a halfway step. So you're either going to build a Android phone into that Nikon camera, or just use the phone I've already got. And if you don't do it all the way, then you still need that other device. Okay, if I want to edit it, if I want to email it to somebody, I need all of those capabilities. So if you're going to build all those capabilities into the Nikon camera, for all of that once.
Well, let's talk about market. Let's talk about market. Who's going to spend that much money? For
how much is it? How much is
that much? Not that much. $350. It's affordable for what it does.
It's too much money. It's too much money. The average person, the guy that's going to go to Disney World and Branson and take pictures of their family and stuff like that. I just don't see a whole lot of market.
Is it important to think about $300 though, Bruce? I know the last time I bought one was 06 for one of my reporters before phones had any kind of quality remotely close to what they have now. But I think it was about $300 or $350 or $400.
Yeah, this has GPS built in. It's got a lot of things built in that much cheaper than that. But
Craig, there is a thing.
My phone already has the GPS. My phone already has all of these things. Why do we need to duplicate them in the camera? Why can't we just make the camera just connect to my phone?
Your phone does not have the ability that this has. Does not the ability to control the ISO shutter speed, stuff like that.
It would be if it was connected to the Nikon.
I think this is Nikon's place to the phone. They can't do it right now. They can't do it right now. It's the camera.
Craig, there is a program to do what you're talking about. I just watched a video. I can't remember what video it was or what camera, but it was one of the DSLRs, either Canon or Sony or Nikon.
There are kludgy workarounds to do it. But the point is,
there was a good app for the iPad that would let you control your camera just like you were running the software. If you plug the camera with the USB thing, like I have a Canon 1D, and I can plug it in to my computer and I can control it. Like if I had a studio set up, if you're doing a bunch of pictures of somebody and you want to control it. You can control it from a computer, and so there's a way to do that with the iPad. There's an actual app. I think it's like $5 or something, or whatever. It's $8.
There have been ways to do that, but it's a strange hybrid of these two worlds. And my point is, you don't have to do that. You just make a camera that's just a dumb camera, and it's connected to the phone, and the phone's controlling every aspect of that. The shutter, the interval timer, whatever you want. My gosh, these phones are more powerful than any interface in any of these, including a 5D Mark III or any of them.
You know what though? I think not Android, not the operating system, a camera, but that a popular operating system is on a camera, right? I mean, right?
Absolutely, you're right. Yeah. I've already got the
apps. If you're playing with your camera and you want to photo apps, I can access all these Android photo apps on my camera. new camera. I guess that's the filter. Maybe some of them, just like Michael was saying earlier, they're trying to get into. I mean, come on. I mean, majority of all your profits are coming from people buying their stuff, and most of those people, the regular person doesn't want to buy a camera anymore. Getting our phones.
Anthony, and then I'm going to disagree. Anthony, go ahead.
Craig, is this a bad idea because it's Android? Or is this a bad idea because I mean,
No, Anthony, it's a bad idea because we've already got the device, whether it be an iPhone or an Android. We've already got the device that can do all the controlling. All we need is a camera to connect for it to be connected via Wi-Fi.
That's what they're doing. They're saying they've created. They've got a $350 point and shoot. And that's the opening price. They'll come down, and Canon will come out with one. They'll copy each other, and blah blah blah. But what they're doing is they're saying they're just adding an operating system.
Yeah, and it costs money. Yeah, and it costs money to do
it.
So now there'll be a race to create for guys like Michael to create apps to control the camera and do other innovative things. They're going to create a whole platform ecosystem here. For cameras to do exactly what you want to do. You're just going to have to break down and buy an Android now.
Why create another ecosystem? Why create another ecosystem?
The ecosystem is already there. They're not creating a new ecosystem. They're taking an ecosystem that already exists. People know how to. People know how to. They're not spending money to develop their own operating system for the camera. And they can say, we put Android on there. If you want to, interact with camera, all you have to do is write an app for Android because you already know how to write an app for Android. You already know how to write an app for a camera.
I think it's the quickest way to get
not spending the money. But why do I need another? Can I just get a really good camera and connect it to my phone and let my phone control it?
But this is the way it's going to connect to the phone.
Why can't they make a
Why would you want to connect one device to another device, just one device?
Why would you want...
Next story.
The worst thing they could do, Craig, is to come up with some proprietary thing like the way Apple would do it, where it's their own system, and then you have to get a certain app to run it. Why not just put Android on the back of the camera and let anyone develop any app and address the API of that camera and let the people like Michael innovate to their heart's content. Let 1 million people come up with different apps to do exactly what you want, because your phone, your existing hardware will communicate. All they're doing, they're not saying the camera is not to replace your phone, Craig. The camera is simply going to be able to communicate with your iPad or your Nexus 7.
You ask me why, I buy a new phone every year. At worst case, every 2 years. Okay? I don't want to have to buy that camera also every 2 years.
And
I would much rather have the camera be dumb and just be able to connect to my phone and let my fresh new phone that's now more powerful, has a more powerful processor, has more RAM, has more everything. All of a sudden now still control that.
Well, what's a better way to do that than to just slap Android on the back of the camera? How else are they going to communicate?
Because then I got to buy a new camera every 2 years as well as the phone.
3-year camera
lenses and all that. It's more expensive. It's more expensive.
Y'all arguing both sides. This is what it is, though. You're looking at it as a user for you. You want one thing. You want one thing. It works your phone. Now, Nikon realized that you have this one device that does all these things very well. Now, that's for Nikon. That's a bad thing. Because they want you to use Nikon. So what Nikon is doing, they realize that you have this phone. Android is the operating system for that. They're combining their hardware, Android operating system, just their push, to get into mobile. They're gonna have their own.
All I'm saying is that's their mistake. All I'm saying is what they should do is stick to what they do well, and make good lenses, make good camera body, and make that. If they want to have a space on the back that's a little bit adjustable, where I can actually dock my phone into it. That's okay too. And plug it in. Now I can use it as a complete one device, just controlled with the smartphone. That's fine also. But my point is, why put a half-baked operating system on there? And
that's what it is.
It's the number one operating system.
Did you just say half-baked?
It's the number one.
I said
there are
half
more
page.
Android 2.x phones out there than any other operating system. Correct, Michael?
Yeah, but the system they're putting on the Nikon is a halfway system. It's not the system you have on a Galaxy S3.
You need all that. You need all that.
System.
It's a losing device. It's a losing device. It's going to go nowhere. No other can copy this. It's not going. It's not going.
Samsung will probably copy it.
Absolutely, it's a losing.
Samsung probably will.
Yeah, they're going to copy it. All right, let me switch gears. We actually still have viewers, which is shocking me. We're half of 50.
But Dan, let me clarify. I'm not saying that the Android system is half-baked. I'm saying the version that they're putting on camera for $350 is half-baked.
It's on 86% of all smartphones. Or 86% of all Android phones are running this operating system.
That's why they should use that to control the camera, not the system that they're putting in the camera, which is a crippled version of the software.
How do you know it's crippled? What are you talking about?
They've already released the information on it. It's very limited what it can do.
Well, it can't make a phone.
It won't run all the normal Android apps. It's a half system just for the camera.
Does it need to run other Android apps instead of just?
If I want to do HDR, if I want to do all these special things, I want to be able to run whatever app I want.
That's what it said. It said on there. It said you can download regular Android apps from the Play Store and put them.
Read it again. You can't. It's limited. It's limited. Only apps for that particular device.
All right, so we all agree this is just an awesome new camera.
It's a dog with fleas.
And I get to root my camera.
It's the iPhone.
They'll have to be able to do more by rooting it. That's right. Processor's not that great. RAM and all that. It's all
It actually may be that. What was the thing, Michael, that they introduced at I/O that they've sold like 50 of, the ball that plays music?
Nexus Q.
This is the Nexus Q of cameras. I say that with all due respect to my buddies at Google. Okay, so there was a neat article. I'll read a couple of them, and I would encourage you to check them out. This is at Mashable. Just Google 11 fascinating facts about Google Maps. And this was just kind of random. I just saw it today or yesterday. How much data have they accumulated? Over 20 petabytes. Petabytes. I think we're back to our previous story.
Hey, that's 5.
And then, which is about 20,500 terabytes. How often are the images updated?
It's almost as much as you post in any given day.
That was a dig just then, if I didn't know you better, Craig. Depending on data availability, aerial and satellite images are updated every 2 weeks. Street View updated as quickly as possible. How much does Google Maps monitor inappropriate content on Street View? I think they react quickly when you report. Does Google blur every individual's face? They employ automatic face and license plate blurring technology to protect people's privacy in Street View, and users can even request additional blurring. Aerial imagery provides much less detail and resolution. Who owns the satellites? Broad range of sources and third-party providers. The same information is available to anyone who licenses or purchases it from widely available public, government, commercial, and private sector sources. And then finally, this is just the 6th out of 11. What about private areas? Those who own the satellites may choose to blur certain areas before the satellite and aerial images reach Google. Governments can petition satellite owners to blur certain sensitive geographical areas as well. Street View imagery is only available for public roads and private venues through the Street View Partner Program. And I think they've just done the Smithsonian Institution. They've just, they actually map the interior, where the exhibits are and that sort of thing. So I think they've come a long way from their crazy idea, let's map the world, and it's neat. So, again, this is on Mashable.com. Mashable, it's 11 fascinating facts about Google Maps. If you're interested, just check the link out below here. So then we have, you can change. Michael, did you read this, or anybody want to talk about this? Norton has this thing. You can just check it out, this little video. If anyone wants to weigh in, you can. But you can change the top Google search result for your name for free. I think Google has a procedure for this that's free, but Norton is actually buying. There's some AdWords deal where you can go through them. There's no charge, and you can set it up to where if someone Googles Craig Shipp, although he would probably come up with, and I would too, just because we're in so many different places on the web. But that's kind of interesting. So check that out. And again, the link to all the stuff we're talking about is below the video. And then I want to go to Bruce next about this, finally a topic Bruce is interested in. But I want to ask Bruce about, you've been playing with this, and I don't know if Craig you have, but you're going to love it. But it's called Zoom.us. And
oh yeah.
We've seen all sorts. We've seen all sorts of Hangouts are wonderful. We use them for this program. Bruce is in a Google Hangout on air right now, and then I'm recording myself locally. And then if you're watching, if I'm green behind me, then you're watching the Hangout version. If I'm blue behind me, then you're watching the produced version. But Google Hangout is how I'm bringing all these folks in. So we're seeing all these different companies. Spreecast is one that has. None of these companies have all of the advantages of a Google Hangout, like the YouTube integration, the easy way for folks on Google Plus to, see it and join it or watch it, all built in. But there are some really amazing features that we're seeing from some of these folks. And the latest, I think it just went public a few days ago, is Zoom.us. So Bruce, tell us what you think and explain how it's different from Skype and a Hangout on air.
Well, yeah, it's different. Yes, I heard about it. I heard about it. A good friend of mine, part of the Tech and Coffee gang. He goes to work earlier than I do. And so I saw his post about it. Walt Mossberg did a piece on it in the Wall Street Journal. There's another great article about Zoom.us on Business Week as well. Yeah, it did go public or open the day before yesterday. And so I started playing around with it. Here's some of the really key things about it. First of all, the video quality is absolutely stellar. It is 720p. The person's got a good camera and everything. The other thing about it, when we switch from one person talking to another person and talking in a Hangout, there's that momentary transition that it has to take place, comes up fuzzy and finally settles in. Not so with Zoom.us. When you do a switch, it switches immediately. One of the other differences is smart enough to realize if somebody coughs on their microphone or bangs into their desk, it doesn't automatically switch to them. It waits about a second and a half to do that. So you don't have unnecessary switching taking place. You can't. It's got a pop-out chat here in the Hangout. If I want to send a private message to Margie, I have to use some IRC code /MSG and then find out Margie's nickname here is. I go and sign that up by going /user and then I can private message. It's easy to private message everybody in the chat that it has there. Probably one of the biggest things I like about it. One is that the CPU requirement for this super high quality video is easily less than half of what the Google Talk plugin is taking from my little Core 2 Duo laptop right now. But perhaps one of the biggest things you've never seen screen sharing like Zoom.us does screen sharing. It is incredible. You think you were looking at your own monitor. So and then you can have 15 You don't have the limitation of 10. So I manage a remote sales team company. I've got 13 people on my team. I have Skype Group Premium, but I'm limited just to 10 people. As soon as I get past 10, it all goes audio. And the CPU usage on a 10-person Skype Premium video is insane, as is the bandwidth required to do it. So now I'm going to be able to have a team meeting with my 13 people. Be able to all of us share high quality video. If I want to demonstrate something like we use hosted CRM, I can do that. If I have a presentation I want to show, I can share not just my screen, application, like you can do in Google Hangout. But the quality will just blow you away. So competition is good. I'm hoping Hangout's team will look at this and figure out ways to step up the process. It can be done higher quality, less CPU, and Zoom.us is where you can get it. If you want to send somebody a link, you can do the invite right from Zoom.us. It just it just works great. And you can log in with Facebook or Gmail. And if you log in with Gmail, there's a tab on the invite. There's a tab on the invite all your Google friends that are online. And you can invite them quickly. So it is really stellar. And you have to see it to believe it. I know that Margie and Craig have both been part of a test. We had 13 people in it one night.
Michael, I think was in there with us.
No degradation. That many people solid.
Now, Bruce, one thing. Are you sure it's 720p?
If you go to Zoom.us, that's what they say it is. But that's what they say on their website.
Only criticism. Well, it's skepticism. Really, is I wonder if you make like a picture of lemonade for like 4 people, it's gonna be awesome. If you make the same picture of lemonade for like 10,000 people, it might not taste the same.
Well, scalability is going to be the issue. We'll see how it goes. They say that they can handle it. Also, be interested to see if these people are being offered some money to buy them.
I hope so. I hope so, Bruce. I hope
Google should buy yesterday.
As long as they promise not to wreck it.
We keep saying that every time one of these comes by. What they're doing, though, they're looking at what Google Hangouts does well. And obviously, Google Hangouts are widely adopted. We've had all sorts of celebrities and news people using it. But Craig, you use it for shows at your site right there on the bottom there, hangout10.com. And you put you've had success with your show Frederick Week, which is about Frederick, Maryland, and Pageant Live for young ladies who are interested in beauty pageants and other sorts of pageants. And it's a great way for you to get. You've had a bunch of different guests come on from all over the place. So, but there are some limitations. The audio quality, but the studio version of Hangouts, which everyone can turn on now, gives you really good audio quality. We've used that. But there are some things that these other folks, like Spreecast is another one that's really interesting. You should check that out if you're interested in doing shows, if you're watching this. But Spreecast has some really innovative things, and it's really cool. We're seeing like HuffPost Live using Hangouts. It'll be interesting to see if they experiment with this new service with Zoom.us to see if they use that, because the video quality and the audio quality is superb compared to a regular Hangout. The video quality is better than a studio mode Hangout, but the audio quality of the studio mode Hangout is probably better than the default Zoom, but Zoom is fine. It's really good. And so it'll be, Google should buy them tomorrow.
One thing, Dan, that I've noticed lately is the video quality on Google Plus, on Hangouts here. I'm looking at Bruce right now. He looks really sharp. It's like catch as catch can. The other day I was in a Hangout with Bruce, and his lower third wasn't readable. Right now it's crystal clear. And so I've always been blaming that on our local internet connection, on things like that, graphics cards in the computers. But I suspect now that a lot of it's been Google quality kind of coming and going. I had almost a week that I couldn't connect without having really lousy video. And in some cases lousy audio. And I checked everything. It wasn't on my end.
A lot of it, yeah, we did. I did some testing with you as well, Craig, and it was you could join mobile. And I don't know if you tested if you could log in as somebody else and if the problem persisted there, but it wasn't your local connection because you weren't having the problem from a mobile device connecting via Wi-Fi, which should have been much worse.
I was uploading large files to YouTube like I always do there. My internet connection was fine. And so it might be the scalability thing. It might be the fact that Google rolled out a bunch of new features around that same time period, and they were trying to scale things up and so forth. And so that harkens back to Michael's point. The whole question I've been asking for a year is can Google really handle this? I mean, can they really deliver this to everybody? Which is what they're doing now. They're rolling this out to everybody that wants to use it for free. And can they really deliver on that?
Well,
I think that's the big question.
They go up and down. Clearly, there are days when it's better, and also like right now we're probably seeing a better quality because there are only 6 in the Hangout. If there's 10, it can affect it, especially if you join mobile, which is a new thing. So the last thing we have is, unless you guys have something else, but there's a change in the favicon. Am I pronouncing that right, Michael? It's the little if you go to your browser and you go to google.com, which I find I'm doing less and less, because once you use Chrome, you don't really need to go to google.com, because you can use that Chrome browser. You'll end up in a Google search, but to actually go to the root, google.com, I find I don't do it as often. But the little Google, it's a .ico file, and you can create your own. If you have your own website, you can create your own little icon. I don't know how many pixels. Is it like 16 by 16, Michael, or something?
Yeah, it's 16 by 16.
And that will be on all the browsers. Like if you go to a WordPress site, you'll see the WordPress logo. If you go to Twitter, you see the little blue bird. If you go to Mashable, there's an M. If you go to Google+, there's the red G+, and I got to upload our logo on the show. But, or I guess there. But anyway, so Google has a new one, and it's the first one, I think, in I don't know how many years but so we saved the most incredible news for last. But Michael, I'm just going to start from right to left. Michael, any final thoughts on this Google Plus week?
It's been awesome. I always enjoy. I didn't know we could have such an awesome conversation about patents. But it's a first for everything.
Well, with my extensive legal background, I was able to listen.
Mediate.
Margie, thank you always. Michael Banks is google.com/plus Michael Banks. And
I hate him. I hate him.
Yeah,
I hate him.
Another reason to hate him, besides he's tall and skinny and
that'll be next.
That'll be next. All the girls. That has all the girls.
Speaking of girls, young ladies, Margie, any final thoughts on this wonderful, very eventful Google Plus week?
No, it was good. It was good.
Okay, a rare moment of silence from Margie. And if you Google or go do a search on Google Plus for Oasis in the Stream, you can pick her up, or at least find her site. And let's go to Craig Ship in Frederick, Maryland, but soon you'll be in Florida.
Kansas City.
En route to Florida. He's taking the long way because you live
Kansas City via Sarasota.
I don't know if people realize Craig is a new media rich guy, and he has homes all across the country, and he's getting ready to move to Florida for a while. What does Comcast do?
Yeah, but I didn't build my own business. Other people built it for me, right?
Yes. You just sit on the couch waiting for your next government check. But your site is hangout10.com or craigship.com.
Yes, we're looking for contributors for hangout10.com. We've started the new blog there where people that do shows via Hangouts can post their shows there. And so we're encouraging anybody that wants to post their shows to get in touch with me, and I'll put them up as a contributor. It's just a blogger blog.
Actually, Tech and Coffee will be a good one. I know Bruce does this stuff. Maybe you could have a different category, Bruce. But I guess you set it up, Craig, to where once they're an approved person, you trust
he'll just post himself,
and they can get some of that traffic because you have a number of sites and you get a lot of traffic. So that's a good way to promote the
we're just trying to get as many recorded shows featured there at Hangout 10 as possible, so that people can just kind of go there and use that as a jumping off point for various shows. So Bruce, if you want to just message me or whatever your email, and I'll just send an invite, and then you can be one of our contributors.
Bruce Turner is your Twitter handle, and what's the best site if someone wants to find you other than just going to Bruce Turner in a Google Plus search?
Okay, well, Twitter is Bruce S. Turner. Bruce Turner was already taken. My website, morningmanna.com. I've been doing since 07. But the biggest thing for me this week is Zoom.us. You have to see it to believe it. If you'd like to try it, I encourage you to do so. I'm going to be going to a college reunion in Philadelphia next week. I'm going to use Zoom.us for those people who aren't able to attend in person. I'm going to be DJing. The college has a radio station. I'll be DJing that and live streaming to Bambuser. We've got a separate website where people. But I'm going to bring some people in using Zoom.us, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's even more exciting than the Nikon Coolpix camera.
Far more exciting.
You know what, Craig? I was just thinking, what would be really interesting is, and I have no idea if this is possible, But if it's got Wi-Fi built in, an Android, I wonder, wouldn't it be neat if you could stream video from that camera to a Hangout? If you could join it like a mobile device because it's got Android, or if you could stream it if you had like Wirecast or something or what have you. If you could do could you do a live stream with that, Michael?
With that version of Android, no. But with updated versions of Android, yes.
Well, I can do a Hangout. What do you mean, Michael? I can do a Hangout from my Motorola Photon, which has the same version of Android, right? It's gingerbread.
It depends on factors, the hardware that they implement for it.
And there's always the possibility they could update the software.
Bottom line is, Dan, they took a half baby step, and it's not the way to go. It's not the way to go. What we need a camera that just connects to our smartphone, therefore giving all the capabilities of our smartphone. All we want is that nice lens. And we want to be able to control both of those things from our current version smartphone.
See, Nikon should have taken a page from Google's book and had all the issues ironed out before they launched.
They're going that direction. They're getting there.
Dan, think about it. That's going to cut the cost of the camera because they're not going to have all that complexity. All they have to do is be able to connect to the smartphone, right? And now all of a sudden, instead of buying one, I can buy two or three of them. And I can have my multi-camera set up and control it all with that smartphone. Imagine having three or four squares on that phone from each camera, just being able to just switch cameras and record and do whatever I want to do. That's what I'm looking for, and that's what pros would want, and that's what they're going to be able to sell.
Real quick question, Craig. That we talked a few weeks ago about that app. I don't remember what it is. Maybe you can refresh my memory.
Viclone.
Spell it for me.
Is it VCLONE or VYCLONE? Something like that. Viclone.
What it does, it allows you. It kind of does an automatic gen lock, and you can have a 2 or 3 camera shoot with iOS devices, and it kind of syncs them up, and then it'll do an edit for you. The way it works, however you want.
Yeah, the way it works. Is based on where you are. So it knows that we're all in the same place, right? So if let's say four of us upload videos to the cloud, iOS device. Let's say we start recording at about the same time, right? The system is smart enough to know that those videos can be combined into a multi-camera shoot. So what it does up on the cloud is I've got these four video feeds coming from this place, and it looks at those video feeds, and I'm sure it's all been done with algorithms, and it combines multi-camera together as one video, which gets downloaded to your device. You would get it downloaded to your device, and then you can sit there and watch it. And if you don't like their decisions as far as when to cut from camera 1 to 2 to 3, whatever, you can edit it after the fact. You can change, and you do it just like I was just saying. You're watching it in real time, and you're tapping to switch the cameras. It's really cool. It's really cool.
Do you find it's still cool now that you've played with it a few times? Is it a useful tool for you?
Well, it's only useful if you've got people at an event with smartphones that you can get to cooperate and do it. It'd be great for like a wedding or something like that, where you have time to kind of together and actually do it. I've only done it a few times. I'm typically covering myself, and I'm trying to shoot high quality, really good video and all that after the fact. Put up after the fact. It's not really.
That's an iOS only thing, so they've got to have iPhones.
And it's limited to a minute. So they're talking about coming out with a pro version. That minute limit. So that it's not fully baked. It's not fully baked yet. But obviously that's kind of where we're headed with this kind of stuff, and that's why I would love to see devices that are kind of like just dumb cameras out there connected to my phone via Wi-Fi, which is hopefully a fast enough connection to stream that video to my phone, right? Where then I can control the whole shooting match right there from that phone, or an iPad would even be better because I can see each camera feed and I can switch and control it and all that. I mean, why not do that?
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, what I'm going to do is I want to thank everybody for being on the show tonight. I really appreciate it. And I want to thank all the folks for watching. We've had quite a few viewers tonight. And all the comments. What I'm going to do, Alan normally, I wasn't able to, because I'm switching so much, it's hard for me to keep up with all the comments, but I'll go back and look, and I'll read every single comment on YouTube and Google Plus everywhere, and I'll respond to some stuff. Linda, thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and everyone else. And I want to encourage the rest of the panel to do so when you have a chance. What I'm going to do is I'm going to close this hangout in just a moment, and then start a new one for an after party. If any of you folks would like to be in that, and we will also we'll open it up to wider circles, but not everybody, because that's been a disaster. We have to get that worst job in Google, some of that team to assist when I do that. But I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank all the folks who participated, and we are here every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. How we get as many people as we do on Friday night is beyond me. But thank you all very much, and I want to wish everybody a wonderful Google Plus week.